Hello fellow viewer, I'm Diameka and welcome to a tutorial over walls, how to build walls, and really just the fundamentals. So the first thing I want to say, and the most important thing that you must know about building a nice wall, is to add depth. So whether it's wood beams, stone beams, steel beams, concrete structures in modern builds, medieval when it comes to wood and stone, that's the first fundamental I would say, is framework, in which we'll see in this demonstration. If you're doing medieval builds or rustic houses or maybe some classical builds, always sort of put like indentations. So like staircases, would you like put like a bunch of staircases, which you will see, and it'll sort of create like this indentation to the wall, give it some difference in texture. Also, to make texture, you can combine several different blocks. You will especially see this in a lot of medieval castles and medieval houses, where you have like cobblestone and stone with andesite, or like polished andesite with regular andesite, but sort of like mixing the texture to make it look more, I guess, plumped or built together, sort of that old look, you know? And yeah, framework, texture, indentations. When it comes to windows, you can have archways around the windows. You can have you can use banners for curtains, or you can use trapdoors. I would also suggest that you would put archways in the build if you're doing like Victorian or 19th to 20th century builds, and add a lot of archways on the windows if you're also building 19th to 20th century builds, since they used a lot of fancy archways, which you will see in a lot of French buildings like chateaux and barriques. And that's just some advice. And yeah, those are the fundamentals: framework, texture, indentations. Oh, and by the way, when it comes to your color palette for walls, make sure they're very similar to each other. Like, don't have sponges with birch. That doesn't look good. If you want to mix birch with like sandstone, or mix birch with oak. That would look good. As long as they're somewhat similar to each other, that's fine. Like orange terracotta with maybe regular terracotta. They sort of look similar. You can mix that. Stuff like that. And if there's a two-story building, you can sort of split that up by building a beam in between that goes across, so that it looks like there's a midsection that is being supported. That sort of adds some depth to it. And like I said, one of the most important things about walls is depth. You can have 2 to 3 layers, but I wouldn't go more than 2 or 3. But I wouldn't just have a flat wall. That's just not good. If you look at any architecture, you will see that there are supporting beams that are outside of the walls, or maybe they stick out in some way, whether it's outside, or they're taller than the rest of the build, something like that. You'll see that in a lot of classical builds where it sort of sticks outside. But those are just, like I said, the main fundamentals. Like I said, really add archways. Try to add texture, archways, framework as much as you can, especially with medieval builds. When it comes to like Victorian age or like the 19th century, make it a little bit cleaner, but add a lot of archways. And then when you go to modern, make sure that you don't really have much texture. However, you do have a lot of depth, but make it look clean. See, modern, it's sort of hard to build in modern houses in Minecraft, because Minecraft relies so much on depth, but you can find a way. Just make sure it looks clean. And yeah, now hopefully you know how to build walls. You've seen me do a few of them in this demonstration, and maybe you've learned a few. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. I am trying to figure out how I can do videos. I can't do live commentaries, sadly, but hopefully you liked the video. Maybe you can learn on your own. And it's all about being able to create your own walls instead of looking at tutorials on how to do walls. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.